nongo ma kenegata men chinik kena ma go chinik kending chinik kenda mingi ma kajik te vitamin kajik matazing kajik gitat kena ya ma First Nations Métis Inuit ma sha comes not this sagen ma nongo mina chitin ya tashke Tebu win hima we ni chi chigeng hima ge win da ma ge at hima kim's not this chigat hote nang Kenora Ontario magweg ma kayu shibi gatig bizna ma nishnabe Métis. Welcome. My name is Roy Tom. I'm from Big Grassy First Nation. I'm here today to share the importance of teaching Indigenous language. We guasatig away birch tree. Matashke chugamatse ma nongam chugamatse we etani kena ma ge ma ikchi kina bishkiki ya watak ma we ne chinimino ya ki no kwezot
Asiam, Haitsakasiam, Nano Aicham Sasat, the Saman, XP. Part of me was hanging on, what do I need to add to my life to understand what's happening? So I began a process since I was young to add things that I seen disappearing in our culture. And I wanted to add them so that one day I'm going to be able to share them back and hold those so that I can give them back to the community that maybe is lost a bit. My name is Daniel Raymond Elliott, Co-Salish Indigenous, and I'm also Scottish, and I'm happy to be part of two worlds. In our world, in our society now, we have so much inundation and so much heaviness and so much pain in the world. You know, an event will happen and people feel very heavy and they're burdened down by what they've seen or heard, or they've had a loss. Sometimes I think society feels like we just have to carry this stuff. You just have to deal with it. And no. So when we smudge, we breathe it in and it comes into our body in the form of medicine. And specifically, the eagle fan and the smudge takes those things off of us. So it kind of neutralizes maybe a room, and it connects me to our shared breath. So all the things that you carry and all the things that you hear and see, I ask the Creator to bless you. It connects me to that we're both, and whoever's in the room, we're sharing the sacred medicines. Oh, see, I think honored one. And out of that sharing comes gratitude and understanding. So I have so many people that benefit that are non-Indigenous, that for me, it's like a liminal space that we're bridging to help people heal and understand some of the damages that have been done historically in our country. We ask a blessing for you today, Leslie. We say, Haitsepkasiyam. I feel a very deep blessing because I feel like I have an opportunity to help support healing, and so for me, it's a way for me to give back from my own journey of understanding, because I grew up away from my culture. I grew up part of assimilation. I didn't have my songs. I didn't have my naming. And I didn't have some of the traditions that I looked at it from a distance, and that was very designed by our Western society and colonization and residential school. So for me, this is me stepping back and reclaiming my roots, my Indigenous roots. And so I feel like I have a real blessing and a fulfillment when I share the smudge. Say hi, Tsaka Siyam. I say thank you, honored ones. Oh, Siyam.
Hoi gaven da meg chiman oe eta shmiya gi ketung chiman kanu oe kamazani biget nup ming kauj biget Patrick Hunter which tun oe kauj biget chichin jigat tegen mage he chimeshko chise ge gogi chiget matashke nibia he kauj biget mazani biget wichit yug.
I used to hide that I was gay, and I used to hide that I was Indigenous, but success really came when I really embraced those things. I'm from Madsen, 40 people and 80 dogs live there. It doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you really want to be intentional about the work you're doing, I think that you can find success and impact in the world. I didn't really understand what my creative process was for a long time. Like I would come home for stretches of time after, whether it be on a college break or just to be home on holiday from the city, Toronto, and I started painting things that I couldn't wait to leave when I was a teenager, like, rocks, trees, and lakes, and nature, and whatnot. I wonder if it was kind of like a longing to come back, or just sort of like the contrast of being in the city and only seeing, huge concrete buildings with glass everywhere. I kind of just switched the intention from just, putting artwork onto people's walls and people's homes to wanting to create a broader impact through bigger collaborations with whoever wanted to collaborate with me. And that shift alone sort of really helped kind of direct the path that I was on. The Blackhawks had reached out through a liaison. They were interested in doing some difficult work around reconciliation. So, I wanted to be a part of that sort of shift in mindset. And that's sort of how it got started, was with the land acknowledgement.
The Chicago Blackhawks acknowledge that the team, its foundation, and the spaces we maintain, work, and compete within stand upon the traditional homelands of the Miami, Sauk, Meskwaki, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, and the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations.
They use my artwork and it dances around the entire arena, which is so cool on like thousands of screens. A couple months later, they had asked if I would be interested in working on Marc-Andre Fleury's goalie mask. I thought it was a great opportunity to tie in the artwork from the land acknowledgement onto the helmet so people ask more questions. I wasn't really sure if what I was doing was going to be a hit, but people really loved that helmet. I liked that I've been able to align myself with companies and hockey teams that wanted to go the hard route, and I realized that it's a big ship to turn. You're not just gonna abolish racism overnight, but you can make these little incremental steps in order to kind of change the course of that ship. The goal of the work is always to try and get people to ask questions. Where does this artwork come from? who made it? Like, why does it look this way? So just creating that sort of awareness has been, you know, I can't believe most of it either, but it's really cool. It feels like a kind of renaissance in a way.
What I said in Anishinaabe, when this is a snapping turtle, Kenak. Nongum mina mage ganap me gejen kaza lida fontaine etishke ni biagegu jichige mage mazni bige ujibige mevutasan ge utushtonan etishke wichta e kaujibiga tegen ketegen etishke ugi chigun kajub matizit ge min jangnishna bitchigen.
To me, art, it goes from your head, through your heart, and then through your hands. It's a communicator. That's how I communicate, is by creating something visual. Yeah, that's my language. I take a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and put it together, and magic, you know? So, yeah, I like it that way. When I hit about being a teenager, the fire started burning inside me to be more creative. We're Dakota, Anishinaabe, and Métis. Indigenous culture is a matriarchal society. Everything, it comes from the mother, eh? It's matriarchal. So within my work, the feminine aspects of it, the mother aspect, I'm bringing it in, and I'm making the dresses, doing the paintings. I think it's all about preservation, you know, for Indigenous women. The influence is going to powwows and seeing, you know, being in our community, we always see those designs. I don't go around trying to make it Indigenous because, you know, that's my nation. So it's just innate, it just comes out. Hopefully my work will turn around and teach others. You guys are gonna get a lot of circles this morning. Okay, I teach art with the children, but also too, my job is it's all about collaboration with the teachers, because the teachers are learning too. We need, our kids need that, you know. I grew up in schools where there was really any representation for First Nations, so I was missing that, and I think our children to this day, they still miss that. That's great, I love this right here. That's really good. It's very important because we're in Canada. Come on, they have to know who the people are, you know, so it's very important, you know, and it does help with, you know, eliminating the racism, the prejudice, understanding the people, you know, so that way our children benefit, our Indigenous children benefit from the history and the culture, and the non-Indigenous kids learn about the culture and the people, and they have a better understanding of who we are. You want to do one more? Yeah. Okay. It was important for me to have that representation because I didn't have that role model. So it's very important.
Kita chige ni ne gajan kaza dani paranto mi awe ya kita chige ki mi tashawe uga bandan ke ugas ningin ima ki ujitmat senda ha Anishinaabe mine ai Indigenous mine ga kitang itash mi hegan den uga ujitun ma be chojitmo inda ga kita chige at ima Indigenous Chimini Nagego, Utamanat, Gitachigat, Gego.
I was given a gift, the gift of music. The knowledge to actually put a song together, to record a song, and to do that. With all of that knowledge that I have, if I keep it for myself, that's selfish. So I need to pass that down. Right here in Prince Albert, this is where it all started for me at the age of 14. Picked up the fiddle, totally changed my life. By the time I was 19, I started playing professionally on the road, and met Neil McCoy when I was 24, traveled the world with him, came back home in 2003, decided to start my own career, and then built it up to where I am today. Basically, the idea formed in my head. I originally wanted to start out with just an award show, because I've always found that being an Indigenous artist myself, and being out there, being nominated right up to Juno Awards, that when I see the category and the specifications to be nominated for an Indigenous award. So there was only one category only in all of Canada. How many categories do you have in jazz? How many categories do you have in classical? You have one for Aboriginal, one. They finally, within the past 2 years, now they have 2 categories. They have a traditional and they have a contemporary category. But this is where the idea all come from. And basically, I wanted Indigenous artists in Saskatchewan to be recognized more for what they're doing, because too many times I've seen dreams die in their 4 walls at home, in their bedrooms. They just say they'll play music and they're really good at doing it and they don't know where to go. So we thought an award show would be kind of cool. And it built up to building a board, and now we have this where it's no longer just going to be the award show. Now we're going to be an organization to Indigenous artists that can reach out for help when they want that help. They're not sure what to do when they write a song. What do I do next? Where do I sign up? Who can help me? Where do I go for funding? Or what can I do? They just don't. A lot of them may not understand or know. With all the people we have on our board and all the knowledge we have, if we don't know the answer on the board, we know somebody that does. We see, and I especially see, a young person joining the organization. We're going to help mold them to go and do something really big with their career. And I can visualize it happening. When they go up to accept their first huge Canadian award, they will be asked a question. Who do you owe a lot of thanks to for helping you in the very beginning of your career? Saskatchewan Indigenous Music Association. That's the home run.
Moshkaga noje, Moskiwa, Aubrey Jackson gajan kazas nine hogi kochitu nima tune up mind ki beji gung gajan kate kamzana teseko kagana unda motki bogi che beninda goche chiuchito at mitish we chichigun Kutapenang hegi kochitut hogi chigun magyu hegashin hogi na masi.
Another one. People think I was oats, dumb, didn't have much to offer, wasn't intelligent. You'll hear this time and time again about Indigenous people. Oh, you learn different. I've been around a long time, and I've learned a lot of things. I haven't learned things any differently than others. And we are individuals, and this is one thing that we need to really appreciate each other. What got me into YouTube is I was minding my own business in her upstairs office, and my wife came in and said, "Hey, you gotta look at this." She brought me downstairs and introduced me to this program of Alone, and was adamant that I need to apply for it. So I did, and ultimately made it to boot camp. It didn't happen for us today, where you get this cracking. It's a natural thing. So an animal might come in and decide to just investigate. So I was really honored to make it that far, but I wasn't selected for the season. But during that process, I had to start to film myself doing things in the wilderness, building fires, shelters, snares, and I just carried on. I thought it's a good medium to be able to send a message out to the masses of things that I think are really valuable in society, and I think that we as a society, we can do better. We can do better.
on a day like this. I'm thinking about all of us with this upcoming season, and I'm inspired to sing. And the song that I'm thinking is a song that was composed by a young man named Patrick Alec from the Nanaimo, BC area. He named this song the Equality Song, and that's what I want for us, as to be equal and to be respectful and to be accepting of each other.
I end my videos with be good, be safe, and be kind. Be good to yourself. Everything starts with yourself, how you perceive yourself, how you treat yourself. And when you're doing that to yourself, it makes it much easier to do to others, to be good to people.
Mina Vamat is the win. Me the leading a good life. My guys and cause it cat hair, you come mustn't be get, those be get, the mustn't be get me tishma is next ego matchina. Organim Kandeshma, Mino Mat is the win. Mitashmagani Jikshitut, Ma, Organic Kana Moha, Shkea, me, you mustn't be gang. Give be gang manga, me ma, Gichat, Shkea.
When you're an artist and you create, you cannot articulate what you feel because you are feeling everything at every moment the entire time. And it's scary. You feel motivated, you feel insecure, you feel tired, you feel energized. You feel absolutely everything. It's absolute whirlwind. I find drawing to be both something that I love and something that I can hate because it's just so draining. I've always had one main motivation to draw, and it's just been to connect with myself. Drawing is who I am, it's part of me. I grew up in a small little town in northern Ontario called Field, near a native reserve called Garden Village. I definitely didn't feel like I had any kind of connection to either side of my heritage because my father, he was the Indigenous one, he left when I was a baby and I never knew him. It alienated me quite a bit from that community. Fort McMurray and this town and the people in it have been so important to me being the artist that I am today. The opportunities that I've gotten and the support especially is there's no words. Like, it's just such an amazing place to be an artist. My mental health has been an ongoing issue my entire life. I struggle with addiction. I struggle with confidence. I struggle with an eating disorder. It's a battle that I wake up to every single day. My art, it's the one thing that I have in my life that keeps me going. Indigenous art it's opened up this part of me as an artist that's really just it's so much more free. I will never stop doing Native art. It's as soon as I dipped my toe in that, I dived right in. I knew that it was something that I was going to continue to do and continue to love, and my passion for it only grows. You don't have to worry about what anybody's going to think of you when you do it. You just do it. The SOS mural is definitely something that is special to me. Not just because it was a huge opportunity for me to grow as an artist, but because it really helped me connect with what it was that I was doing it for. I love doing art for children, and I feel like art is a great way for kids to deal with whatever struggles they might have. I was so hard on myself to be like everybody else, to aspire to be the best, to have that competitive bone, and that's just not who I am. It took me a long time to make peace with who I was and allow my art to fall in line with that. You just have to be yourself, and you have to allow your art to be a representation of who you are. And don't ever compromise on that.
Thank you so much for joining us today. As an Indigenous teacher, I'm very happy and glad to help pass on the language to our adults, kids and elders and the babies. Keep on learning the language so we don't lose our Indigenous language. Keep it going, keep it alive. Happy to see the people wanting to learn and keep it going. Miigwech.
So when we smudge, we breathe it in and it comes into our body in the form of medicine.
You're not just gonna like abolish racism overnight, but you can make these little incremental steps in order to kind of change the course of that ship.
The feminine aspects of it, the mother aspect, I'm bringing it in and I'm making the dresses, doing the paintings. I think it's all about preservation.
Too many times I've seen dreams die in their four walls at home, in their bedrooms. They just say they'll play music and they're really good at doing it and they don't know where to go.
Oh yeah. Another one.
I find drawing to be both something that I love and something that I can hate.